Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah. Rabbi Alameen. Ar-Rahman Maliki Yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdinas siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladzina an'amta 'alaihim ghairil maghdubi 'alaihim waladdallin. Ameen. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Brother Isa Idris Muhammad. I'm 71 years old and have a full experience in involving myself in the community with Muslims in America. And I have experienced a lifetime of some pleasures and rejections. I have a passage in the Quran that I would like to read to try to stimulate a dialogue and pray to Allah the words that I have to speak is clear and honorable and respectful. I'm being accused of not being so respectful from time to time. Alif Lam Mim. That's ALM. And it actually spells the word arms. Now, it's the first, besides Bismillahirrahmanirrahim as the introduction, because we know that constantly, that God is merciful and gracious, and He does this simultaneously. No human being can do that. Alif Lam Mim, arms, given freely, no condition. All you have to do is read Iqra. This is a book, speaking of the Quran, in guidance, sure without doubt. In it is guidance, sure without doubt. This is Quran. Every word has definite meaning. Now, some of us may interpret it a little different, but generally we come to a conclusion in our debates and tafsirs. This is a book, as a reminder, in it guidance, sure without doubt, for those who fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Lord of all the worlds, who believe in the unseen, are steadfast in prayer, and spend out of what we have provided for them. And who believe in revelation sent to them. And believe in revelation sent to them. Sent before their time. Theirs was revelation sent before the advent of Prophet Muhammad. May the God, peace, and blessings of Allah be upon him. And sent before their time, and in their hearts have the assurance of the hereafter. They are on true guidance from their Lord, and it is those who will prosper. Now, you have to understand that there is a condition to prosper. Now, this prosper, as it interpreted in the capitalistic system of America, may give way to material advantages. But I suspect that God is not worried about money in this revelation The prosperity that this may be referring to is far beyond the material world. They are on true guidance from their Lord, and it is those who will prosper. As to those who reject faith, it is the same to them whether those warn them or do not warn them. They will not believe. In other words, a person without faith trusts. First of all, they will not prosper. Second, they are not on the guidance that is referring to this book. Our guidance is supposed to be, as Muslims, as I was taught. I'm not no imam, I got that heavy dialogue, but I'm understanding, and I can be corrected because I didn't go far in school. The guidance that this may be referring to, or it is referring to, is to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Our benefit for humankind is that guidance that bring you in truth. I remember Imam Muhammad said that God, the image of God is truth. He created us in truth. You don't have to get into the heavy schools of learning to kind of agree with that terminology. God has set a seal on their hearts and on their hearing. They can't hear. And on their eyes is a veil. Great is the penalty they incur. Now, I know in my experience with Muslims in the community, especially in the Newark community, but we travel throughout the country. I associated our organization with the national organization of Mosque Care now, with Imam W.D. Muhammad, who I consider one of the wisest men in the century. And I really believe his position, or what he was here for, was to teach America, not just African American. His heart and his sentiment was with African Americans in particular. Of course, in fact, he was raised in the house of Elijah Muhammad. But his dialogue, from what I gathered during his lifetime, was for all mankind. Every human being has this potential. And every human being was created in truth. Because of the poor handling of the African American by the owners of property, which is the American system, government system, who legalized slavery, and their poor handling of it, the dialogue that we get in truth is distorted. I wrote a statement at one time, and I placed it on the Facebook, that says, when you've been deceived, deception is your reality. So if you growed up eating the wrong food for years and years, when someone come to give you something nourishing and benefit to you, your first impulse as a human is to reject it, because you raised and born in deception. Didn't only lie to you about God, and lie to you about everything that will give raise to truth. It says God has set a seal on the hearts and their hearing, and on their eyes is a veil, so they can't hear nor see, nor do they have the courage. Great is the penalty they incur. Now, this is not without hope, because God is forgiving, most merciful. Got all the information from what we understand. Of the people, there are some who say we believe in God in the last day, but they really don't believe. Fain would they deceive God and the believers, but they only deceive themselves and realize it not. Now, if you are deceiving and you don't know, you can claim innocence to some degree. But information has been made available through revelations from the time of Adam through Muhammad ibn Abdullah. I remember reading a book. It was called The Gospel of Barnabas, which should have been said the Gospel according to Barnabas. But I read this book, and it says that when Adam sprung up from the earth, he seen a writing in the sky. And he interpreted that writing as La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah, which in English means there's no God but Allah, and Muhammad is the messenger of God. Adam said, "Oh, I thought I was the only man." And he said, God said to Adam, "You are, in fact. This is your son, who was created, not made, was created 60,000 years before anything was created. This is Muhammad Abdullah, or Muhammad." So Muhammad is a description that is worthy of much praise and respect, provided he's guided by his Lord. Because you can have the name Muhammad and be misguided or deceived or think you deceiving somebody, but you're only deceiving yourselves. And I guess I've been accused of that from time to time. But it never, ever worried me. My heart is sold, whether you know it or not. It's not that important. My judgment is in. And I'm sure I'm going to the paradise. I was told by God Almighty himself. So whether you appreciate that or not, that's totally up to you. And God has increased their disease. I'm talking about the ones have a disease in their heart and got the seals, can't hear. And God has increased their disease. And grievous is the penalty they incur, because they are forced to themselves. If you're not an honorable person, the deception first comes inside, and then it comes outside, and it influences other people. Satan is an active entity that is constant, verified by this book, which we call the Holy Quran. Because they deceive themselves. It ain't too hard to deceive others. Because you say, well, that's how the guy is. That's where he's coming from. That's who he is. He's a liar and a hypocrite. Now, some of them don't know that they're being deceptive. They don't give much consideration because they're arrogant and their head is fat. I have sympathy for some of them because to come into a recognition of God is the freedom that we look for in our life. We live this life and we go. This book is for the living. When it is said to them, make not mischief on this earth, they say, why? We only want to make peace. Salam alaikum, my brother. Diabolical, scheming, backstabbing, terrible individuals inside. Outside, they have this rosary expression. If you spend any time with them, you're beginning to start to notice that you're not much of a consideration. They talk about God all the time, but they don't give you much consideration. And you the one that needs this information. Alif Lam Mim, arms. Free dispensation from the Lord of all the worlds. But in order to get it from man, there is a price, a cultural price, a dialogue price. It's a price that we have to pay one way or the other. And in a capitalistic system where everything is predicated on dollar bills, that dialogue becomes even more diluted. Of surety, they are the ones who are mischief, but they realize it not. When it is said to them, believe in as the others believe, they say, shall we believe as the fools believe? Well, I've been called a fool from time to time. Crazy. Some of the misguided people not understanding. They won't ask me a question, but they ask everybody around me something. Won't approach me to find out why am I react and act like I do. They don't have that much concern, but they're going to repeat something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the book and try and browbeat you with. This information should be committed to your memory banks, and you should be living it out on every level of your life, from my understanding. I could be wrong. So when it is said to them, believe as the other believe, they say, well, I don't believe like this fool believe. You don't have no God. Look at him. You don't even come to prayer. I don't pray with hypocrites. I never prayed with hypocrite. And when I identify a hypocrite, well, I keep away. I can't get behind him and pray. People think I'm supporting a hypocrite. I can't do that. I'm not made that way. Allah knows what's in my heart. My efforts was honorable or is honorable at all times. Started an organization called Waris Associates in 1984. Oh, this is my commemorating shirt. In 1984, I started the organization. Concept came to me by a lecture, and I recorded that lecture and put it in the book form and put it in the public so people won't get the wrong impression that here this old uneducated fella started this organization. Yeah, you forget the prophets. I don't know what university they went to, but there were some heavy brothers. Their messages still resonating or going out, and they wasn't educated. So I don't suffer no inferiority if you went to Drexel, if you went to Yale, no matter what school you went to. God created me in truth like he created you. And if you deviated from it, that's what you and the law. I'm not here to judge you. When they meet those who believe, they say, we believe, but when they are alone with the evil ones, they say, we are really with you. We was just joking around. They use the word Joshua, joking around. We ain't really with this Muslim thing. It takes too much energy. And I'm not talking about the physical salat. Can't tell me God knows what's in your heart, and if I miss a prayer, I'm going to hell. That's with you and y'all dialogue. I can't handle that. And maybe y'all got to classify me on that level. But my heart is sold on the Creator. And he sent down revelations, as it says in here, before time. And everybody has a measure to approach their Lord. Allah don't close the doors on the believer. The concept has been tainted with this Western world dispensation of information. It physicalized these concepts and precepts. So we kind of miss the true benefit in Revelations. They said we just joshing, we just joking, man. We don't really hey, get that goal. God will throw back their mockery on them and give them rope. I mean, they extend them some more time. You think you're doing good. But believe me, the humiliation is on its way in this life. God will throw back their mockery and on them and give them on them and give rope to the transgressors. So they will wander like blind ones to and fro. Those are they who have bartered guidance or error. Or does that say for error? Yes, for error. It's 2016. Educated ex-prisoner. That's why you know that God has power. He can take the lowest of lows and lift them high as an example of respectability and humility. This is the power of our Lord. And which of the favors of your Lord will you deny? But they traffic in profitless, and they have lost true guidance or true direction. True direction. The similitude is that of a man who kindles a fire. Oh, you know, when you got a fire, you get warmth from it and information. You remember, kidder, when the light all around them or him, God took away his light. Oh, and left them in utter darkness, so they could not see. Now, how could the light put you in darkness? Well, it's an indication that you can't see. I got glaucoma right now, and I can see the light, but it's all distorted. It's all distorted. So you can not see. You can look into the light and don't see. It's a revelation from Allah, subhanahu wa ta'ala. Deaf, dumb, and blind. They will not return to the path. They will not return to the path. Another similitude is that of a rain-laden cloud from the sky, entered its zones of darkness and thunder and lightning. They pressed their fingers in their ears, they don't want to hear the noise, to keep out the thundering claps, the while they are in terror of death. But God is ever around the rejectors of faith. Truth, trust. For human beings, if you don't have trust, the confidence flees. The doubt take precedent. O you people, adore your guiding Lord, who created you and those who came before you, that you may have a chance to earn righteousness. Who has made the earth your couch. This ain't no heavy dialogue that you have to go to school for. Oh, yes, to learn Arabic, you have to learn it. And you have to learn the cultural definition of the words. But God is not limited to this expression. As a matter of fact, Prophet Muhammad never said God talked to him. It said it was impressed on his heart. Now, maybe some scholars got some book and dust off from the dust and archives and relics. But the common guy, the common man like myself, I'm a working class individual, don't need no heavy dialogues to obey the creator of the heavens and the earth. You might want to be intellectually stimulated. I heard one guy ask the brother Imam that a person ain't serious until they learn the Arabic. Arabic is words, sound frequency. God is neither none of that. Physical. Nothing physical. God created human beings. They don't have to stand around and watch you, check you out. If you did something wrong, I must spend. That's a Christian baby story that they told the kids before they went to sleep to make them be good. You growed up there mimicking it and put an organization around it and start preaching it in groups. Allah is the creator of the heavens and the earth and the universe. The universe, which your mind can't even conceptually gather. You only see what you see. And that is only a portion, a small portion of the universe. And that's all created matter. God is beyond that. So as far as your acquaintance with God, I think you need to, in my opinion, you can say, brother, you don't know what you're talking about. In my opinion, I think you better concentrate on his requirements to humankind and concentrate on the anatomy of the psychic in human beings to protect us while we are on earth. Don't be for God who has been destroyed. Don't be for the propagation through these great prophets. Peace and blessings of Allah be upon them all. One couldn't come without the other. When Adam fell down and said that he thought he was the only person, and God told him that he created Muhammad 60,000 years before anything was created, Adam fell on his knees and asked God to impress it in his fingers. And he rubbed his eyes, praying for Muhammad ibn Abdullah, who was the seal of the God conscious people. I believe this. I might be crazy, but I love being crazy. I believe this. There's many dialogues about the existence of the Creator and the heavens and the earth. But I know what happened to me in my life. I seen it. I know I didn't have that kind of power. I sat with doctors, lawyers, butchers, bakers, candy stick makers. I made big money, little money. I was a dope fiend in the street. And God raised me up, put love in my heart and in my mind, and I did everything I could to pay it back. I was restricted by those who don't believe, or those who misbelieve, or those who disbelieve. There's a category for each individual in the way he approaches Creator. This is a solid book. The dialogue is also in the Bible. You can read any of the Abrahamic religion and it'll bring you to God. But this prejudiced nature from the Semitic groups and the Humitic groups, kind of along with this interference here in America, you could really misinterpret your role on this earth and you could do more harm than help. But it says Allah knows what's in your heart. He knows. If you believe that, you should been settled for his greatness. If you are in doubt as to what we have revealed, this is Bakra. If you're in doubt of what we have revealed from time to time to our servants, then produce a surah like thereunto, and call on your witness or helpers, if there are any besides God, if you don't are true. Now, I understand that people who don't have access to information could easily be deceived. But it's no excuse that the information has been provided. Revelation has been coming down to human beings for quite some time. And we had such a benefit, or we have a benefit, in God blessing us with a man like Imam W.D. Muhammad, who has opened his mind and his dialogues to us unconditionally. And we responded in the most unfavorable way. We said we followed him to an extent, and then we withdraw our support. This is condition. This is conditioning. We've been conditioned by this society to reject ourselves and anybody that looked like us. I've experienced this personally. So I offer no excuse for my shortcomings. I just pray Allah that the things that I think about doing is the benefit to human beings while I'm here on this planet. And I in some cases, I did see the results of it. I try to generate an organization that was concentrating on those secular things that is very necessary in the maturity and growing of a people, and that's business, health, and education. I started a Cultural Research and Development Center back in 1984, and I invited certain people that I thought that would help. It wasn't that I wasn't aware of the tricky dialogue that they was involved with. I say tricky, a little humor. But when you got something you need, some of us use a butter knife to take a screw out of something. And use the back handle of it to knock a nail in. you use what God provides for you in order to um, go after your objective. So I invited certain individuals into the organization, and like everything else, my education, my lack of education, uh, gave a raise to the probability of uh, somebody maneuvering in such a way that they can take over a good idea. But God had protected me and this organization for many, many years. Yeah, but if you don't have the faith and the belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then you susceptible to misjudge. And so it was misjudged by many, many people uh, as to the origin and development of Warriors Associates. I had no idea. I had my experience with masjids, and I seen that these self-righteous people didn't really have empathy or sympathy for those who was less than fortunate. So I created a group that I thought that would lend their expertise. So we had doctors, we had a doctor, we had an accountant, people with finance, we had educators involved with the organization, and that was my thrust or my contribution or my payback to the community. I wasn't interested in establishing a masjid. Too many of those masjids become political. You know what I'm saying? Too many of them become political, uh, and they miss the point, and they go off to the deep end. Uh, uh, the imams, most of them, they didn't have much education. Some of them teaching from who came out of churches, and they taught the concept in a way that was substitute the concept that they had about Jesus, and all the dialogue that supported it. They had this, uh, uh, or have this same dialogue going on today, uh, where we should be concentrating primarily on education, health. We still think the most important thing for the individual is their spiritual development. And not to say that that is not important, but our priorities is fig bobbleated. They're a little confused at this point, as far as I'm concerned. I know you might have a different opinion about what you think, but everybody entitled to their thinking. I'm having this dialogue, so this is my expression. I'm praying Allah that whatever I have to say, it's not offensive. I'm at a shorter dialogue or dialect, but I think you understand my intention and what I'm saying. But this organization had all kinds of people in it, and over the years, and deception was prevalent because you thought you had people that supported what you was doing, but they had their own agenda. They had no interest in yours, and they wanted to do what they want to do, irregardless of the group setting. No respect for themselves or the group. And because of the dialogue and the permissiveness, the acceptance of in the Quran, we had to be patient, and we had to use a broader perspective. I think we did the right thing in not getting into arguments and debates about who's right and who's wrong. Allah knows, and it do always come out in the end as to who's right and who's wrong. Allah blessed me in many, many ways. I had jobs that people envy. Well, how you get that? You got no education. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's a old poem I used to read. I think if I could remember it, is to see the universe in a grain of sand and heaven in a wildflower. The whole eternity in the palm of your hand and infinity in 1 hour. To me, this advocates that no matter how small the element is, it has its place in this creation. And we have to learn to respect it. We say God created this. I remember one time I told an individual that God, not God, but the spirit of God, or was ever in present, and that it's anatomical. It's energy that is here, that was placed in creation from the beginning of its creation. So it don't need nobody to stand over you and spank you because it's clocked into the makings of the creation itself. God is forever present. In this book, A Gospel of Barnabas, Jesus used to always say, in whom my soul is in presence of God constantly. Now, Jesus was a physical man, and his soul emanated from that body, or he couldn't talk about it. And it was forever in the presence of Allah. So Allah is constant in our creation. He is constant in touch with us. So don't need nothing to know what's going on. There ain't no intercom system. It's clocked. The belief is clocked. And some of us have it and some of us don't. And we try to invite those who don't have it into this realm of faith. I call it inherit of faith, not of religion. You can have a religion and don't have no faith. You can see it in your actions and the results thereof. You can't say you being blessed for Allah and you haven't moved from one block to the other. That's not a blessing. It might be a test or a trial for the disbeliever or misbeliever, but that's not a blessing. This religion is made to make the individual change when it comes into their minds and hearts. You don't see that change, they ain't got it. Plain as that. You don't see the manifestation of their thoughts, they don't have it. So don't be, because you like a person and you look good, and you're a big man, don't ignore the small fella or the person that don't have the dialogue that that individual have or the articulation that that individual has. Poor people, they so poor, they don't realize their sufferings from slavery and the job that the white man did on them and hating their own colors and loving white folks, loving the color white, maybe not white folk. And they're defended. When you say something that the white man did, they tell you, well, black man got to get himself together. That's for sure. But white come out at that time. So, in my efforts in trying to do something in my area where I grew up, I made mistakes there. I needed to clean up those mistakes. You know, I had my father's name and I dirtied it up. And I found out that that name wasn't so bad after all, Deans. And I knew Carl was a tender of the land. So all those attributes I had already, a tender of the soil, you know. A lot happened and transpired during the evolution of man and you do a little study and you have a little perspective of what transpired, and you could place yourself. I know exactly what my role here on earth is. I know exactly what I'm supposed to be doing from day to day. I'm clear and I sleep well. Just recently, uh, donations were made to various different people in masjids in Newark, New Jersey area. I take no claim that I initiated. Not that what was made offended me in any way. What offended me was the way it was done, but the results thereof I'm happy and satisfied with. And praise be to Allah, it was done. Uh, I don't have animosity in my heart. I don't have revenge in my heart. I don't have that. That's the blessings. Allah removed those things from me. I acknowledge those things that transpired in my life, but I don't hold grudges. It ain't no good for the soul. It's no good for the mind. And at my age, I need every bit of my thoughts, to be honest. There's much more dialogue that I have, but I know I'm running out of time. I just wish everyone well. Hope you're satisfied with your Lord, and hug your children and make sure that they are educated, because they got a challenge in front of them, and make sure they have the info. I don't care whether they have on those Arab garbs or dressing like some African somewhere on another side of the world, or not. We need to put in their head the information, so when we leave here, at least they could recollect. I heard something like this before. God is great. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.